I think we must get the formalities behind us so that we can carry on with the talks. That's what I'm seeing forward to. So, I printed a few copies of the Constitution. It will really take you 1 minute to read through it. It's 2 pages at the most. And then if anybody got anything to add or want me to delete, then you can just tell me. We already had a request from Gary that we must not only use the word South African numismatics, we must look at it on a broader scale internationally, and I agree with that. That was one thing. Okay, so ek gaan net vinnig uitdeel. Ek het have you got one? This is a new one I printed. Okay, daar's hy.
The delightful gentleman. Legal representative.
Yeah. Legal representative.
Yeah, that's different from the one you have.
Yeah, that's it. You take that one. Okay, just go through it. Take your time. It's not going to take more than 2 minutes. Does anyone want yeah, I think you've got enough copies. The reason my son is taping this is that we had requests from Natal, Pietermaritzburg, Holland, everywhere that they want to look at what we are doing today. So they're all interested, but we're going to put on a link on the internet so that people can. So it's not a Zoom meeting, but they can afterwards, with the help of a link, they can watch what we did today.
Yeah.
Is John Harrison Sager? That's the only person I'm missing. Huh? Nee, hy het my bel, maar ek het nog gedog ek nou sien ek onthou. That's the only person. Okay, everybody went through it. Even the legal eagle. Anybody want to make any comment? Anything that you want me to change, that I must add, that you're not happy with, or you, whatever. Okay, seems like everybody's happy. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Adrian?
Yeah.
Okay, now for the most difficult part. I originally thought maybe, like the Maritzburg Society, they gave me a copy of theirs, and this I actually copied from theirs, and they have a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretary, and then a penningmeester as a treasurer. But in we are a very small society which is starting up, so I think 3 people will be able to do it. The secretary can also be the treasurer. It will not be a good job. The big problem is, I am willing to be the secretary for, if it's fine with you, for another year at least. I like organizing, I like it, but I'm not the type of person that I think that will be a good chairman. So we're looking for a chairman and a vice chairman, but the thing is, if I say now, Andy, are you willing, can we vote for Andy? And nobody knows Andy. or Juan, or whoever. So voting in this instance would be very difficult. Who are you voting for? You don't know these people. So can I ask, are there anybody that is willing to put his name in the hat and say, I will be willing just for an interim period of, let's say, 6 months to be the chairman? Huh?
Chairman list.
Yeah, Bob.
I think list some of the duties of the chairman.
Yeah, the duties is in there. In the beginning, it will only be when we get to a time when we're going to have fairs in ex-felons and, you know, like that in Rondebosch in the olden days, then the chairman's going to have big duties. But at this stage, there is very little things that he must do. We're going to meet up maybe 4 times a year, and that you have to organize. I will send out all the invitations. I will contact all the people. So he actually will be a figurehead at this stage, but we must have a chairman.
Right, you said that there's not very much work to be done at the moment. Because I'm now going through a very busy time. That's why I kept my head down.
No, it's fine. Okay, can I nominate someone?
Yeah. That'll be nice.
So you have is one.
Yates, but I might be going to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, but when
So-
you can, then the vice chairman will take over.
Yeah, I think if that is fine with everybody here, I'll do my best and obviously assist you.
Okay, thank you. But Walter is the guy who sent all my coins, or my friends and my clients' coins to NGC. He's our grading specialist. He stays in Durbanville. Some of you have met him before. And luckily, we stay very close to each other. So if there's something to decide, then he's close by. I would like the vice chairman to be from the southern suburbs. I don't want all the boere here
I would be willing to do that.
to do the vice chairman. Okay, Gary Morris, no. Okay.
I'm from Sunset.
From Southern Suburbs, okay. Are there anybody that also want to stand for any of these positions that you must vote on a vice chairman or chairman?
Dave said he wants to stand for all 3.
David? Okay, so are you happy with that? Okay. Okay, so at this stage we're not established yet, so I'm not going to ask the other people to vote because we've got about 50 members, but obviously everybody couldn't attend today. So only the people here have the vote today because somebody must start somewhere. Okay, so I'll put that in our Nutila. I send it out to everybody. I would say this is they will be acting in their positions until we know each other in 6 months' time. Then you will know who Sergi is and who Andy is and whoever is. And then you can start voting and you will see, you know, these people do a better or worse job than the previous. Okay, so then our first AGM will be in February next year. When the 3 of us and maybe all of us will then meet again at home. Is that fine with you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So that it was no problem, Craig. So we have got 3 talks today. The one is by David Flack on the workings of that fancy machine there. And I actually have a few items that I want him to scan, explain how it works. And I know you get cheapies and you get very expensive machines like that. And after that, then Adrian Jordy will tell us more about the registry sets. The registry sets are the sets in the capsules that you send to NGC, PCGS, you get a point, and then you compete with each other. But he will tell you more. So David, you want to go first?
You can't always think that's a cheapie, that's only 300,000.
Yeah.
Do you want to stand here? Want to stand there?
No, it doesn't matter. Do you have something that I can scan?
Yeah, I've got there's 3 bowls there. Look, now do this. David, which national business do you work for?
Crickets and golf.
Oh my goodness me, I know that machine.
Oh, at Brown's office.
I'm a friend of
Yes.
Mark.
Kom ons kyk
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Dan moet sit in die rang.
Scott. I just want to tell you more. I just want to tell you more about this one. That's the reason I want it to be scanned. It's Swiss made and it says it's 800, 80% silver. But the coin inside is a coin from 1700 and I don't think it's the real thing. So I think that's not a silver coin. That's what I want to find out. So we'll see nothing.
What silver purity must the coin scan?
It should scan 0.657, I think.
It's scanning 99.
Pure.
Mm.
That's better.
Yeah. And the bowl?
Also,
Maybe that's the GP machine.
unfortunately not.
Because it's turned to
I used to use rather check something you know first and then.
But how it works is it scans only within a certain amount of microns.
Yes.
So if it's something that's thickly plated, you can fool the gun. That's why you've got all the other tests like with the magnets. And an interesting thing that a lot of people don't know is if you take a pure silver coin, although it's not magnetic, if you take a magnet over it and you wave it like this, the coin will actually start to wobble. And that's how you can also tell if a coin is pure silver.
I don't know if you've heard of a rare earth magnet.
Yeah?
And it does the same thing. It will
Yes.
slowly travel down the coin. That's slice.
Okay, so this is iron, 80% iron and 20% copper.
Iron and 20% copper.
You should actually bought it.
Supposed to it's going to be difficult to scan through the glass. It might pick up the silicon in the glass.
Is because no one else.
Can you remove it from the frame or not?
It was take off the more than one.
That's
the health thing.
That's good, thank you.
I've got one just like this as well.
It's a China in Singapore.
This one's
The reason I asked about the water, I only got
Let's see if there's anything else.
Japanese and the European trade dollars.
So like here's what this one I think is copper zinc.
I used to trade as well.
There's a little bit of zinc, nickel, iron.
So this one excluded all those. I need to subsidize.
Yeah, there's a few of the others, but it's like this one's sterling silver.
Het jy hierdie een afgehaal?
The hair alone you can see this. What is that word?
Wat het hierdie geskeer eintlik?
It's picking up the silicon.
Scan these and it's got enough time. I know they will say, but I just wanted to know see what
Maar energy showing.
Copper, nickel, and zinc.
Okay, so dis oor hierdie bal.
How much is energy charge to grade from?
Well, it varies.
From the
Copper, nickel.
Okay, so maar nie gesê van die
So this one's scanning pure.
trying look, as you know, NGC will not grade certain times.
This week, military,
This one,
feels good.
To be honest, that's my
pure silver.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's actually a stunning piece.
I think that's
when they're not in English. No English.
and don't put it again.
what's that?
Basically,
Thank you
the
very much.
Chinese
Okay, thank
equivalent
you.
of NGC, and they are they are much more expensive than the NGC. And I've got 2 coins and I don't think
Some of them like when you get a bunch of coins and you see sometimes it breaks. You don't even realize
I
it.
can't afford to I'm not sure how it goes because you'll only be able to remember if you're going to
There for the last 2 weeks.
you know, so I don't know if I'm going to write to the person and here's the photo. I mean, like, for example,
Did you buy that?
One of the coins is a very large.
Other one came from was so bad
I was only.
that I didn't even know it existed until I got logged on. It's a cash coin, an old cash coin. Mid to late 19th century. But it's stamped 2.17.
Then I've got another 12
Maybe
Depends on the condition of the US, but on average.
It's standard on bits.
But that's a nice one.
I rejected Bitcoin because the Western size of the coin Western would not allow trade.
Yes. In that condition, get them in edge.
Yeah. Understand your race now.
Okay.
But also, can we carry on? Can we? Are you all ready for the speech for Adrian? I think he's got some computer mathematics. Yeah. I do that.
I only printed 10 because I wasn't sure how many.
That's all.
Somebody else would use it.
Give me your virus.
Global.
Resource owner. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my name is Adrian Geordie. Collect sort of three things really. One is South African coins. The other South African banknotes, and the third is medals. So it's quite broad, but in the case of coins and banknotes, they differ from medals in that they can be graded, and one can attempt to compare them in terms of their quality from one to another, whereas in the case of medals, that's pretty much irrelevant. So Pierre asked me to just explain the NGC registry and how it works, and I thought I'd just make some notes, but if anyone wants to ask me anything, we can try and answer it. So, and obviously NGC is just one of the grading companies, but it's the one that I prefer over the others. But equally, for example, PCGS has a registry and the same sorts of things apply. But I'm just going to talk relative to NGC. So the NGC registry is a free-to-use database. You have to register, but it doesn't cost you anything. And once you've registered, you can use the registry. So the benefits of the registry are that it allows you to record and categorize your coins and then compete with other collectors from around the world in the different categories. So you can sort of benchmark for yourself if you want to the quality of your collection or a section of your collection relative to other people's collections. And also allow you to see what other coins are out there and in what kind of grades. So on the NGC registry, the coins are loaded into pre-assigned sets. So for example, if you're interested in the Union tickies, then there's a set for Union tickies. But equally, there's sets for proofs and uncirculated, which are separate. And then also sets which are by year. So for example, it could be proof sets from 1923 to 2021. Those sets are loaded by NGC, but occasionally, especially as each year passes, they might not load a set, and they can always be requested. that they load the set on your behalf. So you may end up having a coin which has not been previously created by them, and they will not have a slot in their set. And there are two methods of getting them to load it for you. You can either using the app. Once your coin is graded, load it in. I'll explain it to you. Then automatically they'll get a message, and ultimately they'll create a set. Alternatively, you can email them and ask them to make a set for you on the registry. So what happens is in December, one of the advantages is that in December of each year, they look at the rankings of the sets and they choose sets which can win a prize. So they have this prize giving and they choose a large number of sets from around the world and you can win a prize. And the prize is $500, which is a credit against a grading. So it doesn't sound much because of the cost these days of grading, but Waldo's won them. I'm sure I've won it 3 times.
Yeah, he's being very modest. So let me just jump in here. Adrian's got a phenomenal collection, be it coins or notes. There's well over 200,000 registering sets on the NGC registry. And he actually won one of the prizes of one of the top 5 sets in the world 2 years ago. He's very modest. He's got coins that most of us will just dream of, to put it mildly.
Okay, so anyway. Okay, so how do you, first of all, how do you access the registry? So there are 2 ways. There's the old way, which I actually preferred, but the app is now coming to being, and actually it's got some advantages. But the old method is to log on to their website and go to the Collectors Society. So I've given you the address there. There it's basically a database, looks like a sort of a spreadsheet layout, and there you can enter coins, manage your collection, print them out, sort them, add new coins, delete old coins that you've sold perhaps. So there's an easy way of managing the coins. Then there's the app. So the app can be downloaded from the App Store. I've given you the name. It says ngccoin.com. It's free. Now the beauty of the app is it enables you to easily add new coins. When you add a new coin, I'll deal with that a bit later, but when you add a new coin, it first of all allows you to bring up photographs and it loads those photographs. If NGC has in their database a photograph of your coin when that coin was graded, so that applies to the sort of newer ones or maybe the last 15, 20 years most likely, but I have had some coins that they for some reason just don't have photos of. It will enable you to automatically load those photos. But if you don't like their photos, you can also take your own photos and load them in. So you can load the photos, and then the next step, it shows you the eligible slots that coin might compete in, and you can select whether you want that coin to enter into that competing slot by just ticking them off. Obviously, if you've got more than one of a particular coin, you're most likely to want to choose the one that gives the highest point rating to be in your set. So you wouldn't want to select that coin, so you can ignore that and just proceed. And that's a very easy way of adding the coins. Okay, so I just gave you a little bit of a summary here of what I consider the interesting features. So there are 2 kinds of sets that they have, really. There's the competitive sets, where they've got a score for each coin, and that scoring is being determined by them. If you disagree with the scoring, you can lodge a request for them to reappraise the scoring or change the scoring, and it can happen that they make errors. I've seen them. So you can.
Do they charge for that?
No. So it's free to use and it's pretty convenient. So you can request a score correction if you think that's
and no extra cost.
No.
Easy. Couple of clicks.
Okay, so but bear in mind that the score is a subjective thing, and you might differ. You might think this coin's far rarer than that, but for some reason they give that a higher score even than that. But most of all, I would, on average, I think it's pretty reasonable approach to the way they do. That's the competitive sets. Okay. Then they also have something called a custom set. So at the moment, you cannot access a custom set off the app, but you can create a custom set on the website. So what is a custom set? A custom set is your own set with your own categorization of how you would want to group your coins together. And you might have a theme. I've got a custom set which is Republic patterns. I've got a whole lot of Republic patterns. They're not competitive coins. They're patterns. So there would be no way of displaying. So I've created a custom set which lists all the patterns plus my photographs, and that's a custom set. So the custom set can also enter the competition, but it's not based on the points. So then theoretically you can put your descriptions, you can put a bit of a blurb about what you find interesting about the coin, mintages. You can decide how you want to describe each coin.
Sorry,
And then,
this sounds, look, I believe Peter started with coins when he was very young. I was 12, 11, I started with stamps. What you're describing, so I understand in my brain, it sounds like a virtual coin exhibition and competition. Basically.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Because with stamps, you actually have to spend thousands of rands to go to an exhibition and to have your stuff displayed with people going through a hall and stuff.
They both do,
Yeah, look, each person might, a lot of people probably think there's no point. Other people will get very competitive and sort of, so everyone's might find their own purpose for why they might find this a useful tool. I think it enables me to categorize what's in my collection in a logical manner, number one. Number two, it's a very quick and easy way for me to remember if I see a particular coin, is it better than what I've already got? Would I like to buy that one, sell that one? It's a quick way of me determining what's in my collection. I can't possibly remember them all.
One question to do with the something that you mentioned about, I know you're very modest, but I mean, with stamps, I'm sorry, I'm relating to my experience of competition stamps. You have the top collection, which from what you said is probably his. And they would call it a double gold or a large gold medal collection. Do they have that sort of term with the NGC and the Numismatic?
They've got different categories.
Do they have a top category where the guys are like, you're going to see the best stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll get to that at the end. But what they have is a ranking. Because the NGC is an American company, obviously there's a big focus on American coins. So they really separate their registry into two sections, the USA and the world. So first of all, if you go to the ranking section, you can either select the top ranked US collections or the world. Okay, so obviously in our case, if it's South African related, it falls under the world section. So you would click on the world section and you can see the top ranked sets for the world. So one can do exactly what you described. But when it comes to the prize giving side, there are prizes for different categories. So there's prizes issued, for example, for the best modern set. Let's say that's the category. So that could be anything from anywhere in the world. And okay, that would be one that I happen to have won once, but well, this also won once. And then you may find the next year they seem to focus on Australia and we seem to be forgotten. But obviously, they're never going to pick a South African set every year after year after year. That would be unrealistic to expect that. But then they've got an overall collection category. Then they've got a prize for the best custom sets. So they've got a number of different prize groups, and so you could compete in a number of ways. Okay, if you wanted to compete, if you saw it as a competition, you don't have to see it as a competition. It could just be a very nice way of you recording your own collection, dealing with the photographs, and being easily able to look at things without having to go and rummage to find the physical item. Okay, so that's okay. So I've shown you an extract of my custom set just to show you what it would look like. Now this is not what it looks like on the app because custom sets are not accessible yet on the app. But on NGC's website, they do say they're developing the app to deal with custom sets. So basically, here's an extract of one of my custom sets, and it's showing how you categorize and how you add your coins to it. Bear in mind, the coins have to be NGC certified coins unless they're US coins. If they're US coins, you can also add PCGS coins, but in our case, they have to be NGC certified coins. So one probably has to make a value judgment as to whether you're going to use PCGS, NGC, or SANGS as an example, because you can't mix all three if you on this system. So in my case, I chose NGC and I just stick to it. So if I get a PCGS coin, I send it to NGC and I get it changed over. Because it's pointless for me to try and have all these different certified type of coins. But that's just an individual choice. Okay, then the scoring. Just a vague, I'll give you a quick summary of how the scoring goes. So they try and rank each coin according to some properties, and the way I see it, this is not a fair website, but the next paragraph is. So I say it's scarcity, condition, high appeal, the value, collecting interest, and other factors. So that doesn't always apply to us. We might know that in our heart of hearts we will know what a particularly scarce coin is, and it may not be quite so recognized by NGC. So we might know it's possible to find XYZ in a 70 grade or whatever, but they give it a measly 100 points, whereas another coin which we know to be way more easy to obtain, they might tell you it's a 500 point coin. So there are those anomalies, but largely I think it's fairly realistic. So I don't have a big criticism. The NGC says that basically they assign the scores, they've got some kind of computer system which looks at date, type, grade, market value, and the NGC's expert opinion, and they've got this algorithm, and it weighs these factors, and it gives a score to each coin. And it's to each coin at each grade. But then there's also the color variations of the coins. So, for example, if we've got a penny, for example, we know that we can find them in the brown color, the red, brown, or the red. So NGC considers that the red is the better coin. Largely, I suppose, scarcity and high appeal. So there's a benefit to having a red coin over a red, brown, or brown. And I suppose we can kind of agree with that. The red color is much nicer. So,
any of these sets displayed in photographs on the site?
yes, for sure. Yeah. So you can, as I said, load your photos in two ways. You can either take the NGC photo, which shows it front and back in a slab. Alternatively, you can load off your cell phone your own photo and load it into the system. So you can display the coins either using the stock photo, which is just very convenient, or taking your own photo. So that's a big part of it. So I've just given you an example. I took a 1943 penny in circulated condition, and I said, let's look at an MS64 coin. A red, you would get 63 points. A red brown would only get 37 points, and a brown would get 28 points. Okay. So that's just explaining points versus color. Now, if you grade a coin that hasn't previously been graded in a red color, for example, there will not be a slot already created for red because it didn't exist prior to that. So what will happen is when you load that coin, you'll get a little message there, and it'll say that the coin is an unknown variety, or it'll say it's not eligible for any set as yet, and you can enter a message to them, please create a score by entering which set of you would say belongs into, and And it used to take quite a while. I used to hassle them and bother them, and after about 3 weeks, suddenly they would have a new thing. But in the last time this happened to me, it took like 2 days. The next thing they created a score, and the coin could be.
Because you're so well known to them.
Well, I don't know. It's
Do
just
you use them a lot?
yes, but I
That's
mean,
why you're a good customer.
okay, but okay. So what I'm saying is, via the app, it's become more convenient. Okay. So if your coin doesn't go in, don't be disheartened. I used to fight and struggle with them. People don't know. But now it actually is a lot simpler. Okay. Another thing to bear in mind is the difference between obviously the proof coins. So you've got proof, then you've got the normal proof, proof cameo, or proof ultra cameo. So I'm sure we all know what those are, but basically, I've given an example where if you take a 1976 silver 1 rand, in proof, the normal proof is 85 points. The 69 cameo gets 94 points, and the 69 ultra cameo would get 111 points. So it just shows you that the ultra cameo is the preferred coin from a points point of view. Makes sense. Some people obviously like to collect coins in different finishes.
Sorry, but say for instance you've got an ultra cameo a 63, but you've got a cameo a 68. Who's going to win?
In that case, I suspect a cameo 68 because the grade is so big. But we can look at the tables. I've given you a bit of an extract off their scoring. So we could actually see that. Let's try and pick that example, or pick an example where
a cameo would beat
a 68 normal. Let's call it normal, not neither cameo nor ultra cameo. 68 would give you 67 points, and a cameo would have to be a 67 plus to get the same points.
Yeah.
So there's quite a preference.
Quite narrow.
There's a small point difference, but what I'm saying is there's a clear preference between two ultra cameo as to cameo or neither. Okay. Okay. Then you will find that some coins do not have a score and cannot enter into your competitive set ranking. And those are, for example, the 1931 Tiki, where if you have one and you load it, it will say non-competitive for display purposes only. So, not that I don't have a 31 Tiki, but I have had some coins where I do have a few coins where this applies.
Why?
Because, and the logic that they have come back. And the funny thing is, I've had coins which were getting a score, and then next thing I woke up and they had the scores
No one can
zero.
compete with you, that's why.
That's probably.
Yeah. So what they basically said is the coin is too valuable, okay, and a normal collector, it would be too difficult for everyone to get those coins, and therefore it would be a bit unfair. So I mean, in that case, that's perfectly I can accept. The benefit, one of the other possibilities though, is that you can have a coin that's in really poor condition, but at least you can add it to your set, and it allows you to have a complete listing whether or not that coin gives you a score or not. So
in stamps, what you just mentioned now doesn't happen because what they do is they will put a collection like yours in
category that's high.
in a supreme category. So you're not competing against normal people. You're only competing against people who would have 1931 tickets, for example.
Right. Okay. So that's the logic there. So if you get a message or you see that some of the sets don't have a score, it could be for that, and it'll say it's non-competitive. Okay, so then there's a set ranking. So basically, as I described earlier, you can look at USA or you can look at South Africa. So I just gave you an extract. So you can see in the world, I clicked world here, so you can see the top NGC registry sets here. So on a world basis, you can work out where you are if you're interested. And obviously, this is not only among South African sets. It's in some guy like Bolivia, Australia, wherever, China. Some guys have. You can also see the total number of coins that are competing repeating, the average score per coin, things like that. So you can get a sort of feeling of what people are collecting. For example, you'll find a Chinese collector, he's collecting pandas, and the high scoring coins, they're obviously very popular. And he's got a few coins with a very high score per coin, and he's got quite a good set, obviously, but it's quite limited. So that you can sort of get a feel for the kind of sets out there and who's doing what. You'll find other people who, in my case, but it's just a personal choice.
I see I've moved second to that list.
Oh, you're going to Russia. Okay, so some people have more than one set in their register. So for what I mean by that, you might have, let's just pick a coin, silver R1 in MS condition. Okay, circulated silver R1. Some people will have a top set, which is every single of their best coins. That will be set number 1. And then they'll have a secondary set, which will have the seconds. And they might have a third set, which will have the thirds. With the idea, in a sense, I suppose, that they will get a better point score because their collection is actually quite vast. It's just repetitive, perhaps. Okay? So, different people do different things. In my case, I don't do that, but that's just my decision was I'll have one set for each coin and I'll put my best coin in that slot and that's the end of the story. If I've got spares, they're irrelevant.
Yeah, that's like the guy that's number 1 in the world. Literally got, not this guy, the guy that's number 1 in the world, the US set.
Right.
He's just got the same set over and over and over and over.
Okay, well, I think that's almost like having a shop and having your stock listed in here. It doesn't really, well, it doesn't mean that much to me, but then on the other hand, presumably stock sets is also quite good, I would imagine, but I don't know that guy, so I don't know exactly. But that's just, I'm just explaining that could be, it's up to you with what you want to do. Right, so then a little thing here, I said how to get started. So if you're interested, what you do, you register for a free account on NGC via the app or via the web page. So that's easy. Then you add your coins one by one. There are 2 ways. I say one by one, but it's not necessarily one. On the app, it's one by one. So on the app, you click the green plus button, you enter the NGC cert number. That's this little number. I've given you an example. It's obviously the invoice number here on each coin slab. You'll see that it's I don't even know how many digits it is. It's 2, 4, 7, and 3. So you enter that number, and then the coin gets picked up by the app, and you can then load the photos, put it in its set, and do with it what you want to do. But it can become tiresome if you have 100 coins to load, because then you've got to do them one by one. But if you're doing it via the app, at least you're getting the photos one by one, and it's actually going in quite effective. The other option is to go to the web page. You can manage there's a column and it says manage my collection. You can go there and say add a coin. You can have a bulk input. So there you can technically cut and paste from a list, 50 at a time, I think it is. 50 of these numbers, put them in the block there, and it'll load 50 coins. Downside of that, because that was the original website, it didn't allow you to load photos, you had to do it all manually. So the negative of that is you won't have the photos. Then you could then go to the app and grab all the photos for each coin afterwards. So practically, if I was going to start off now, I'd just go to the app and start loading them one by one. Okay, that's the best. And then you can have a little title page and a logo for yourself, and you can put one in. You can choose how you want to. If you want a logo, you can give yourself a name there, and you can put in my case, I've got a picture of a burger spawn pattern, and I've put it there because it just looks so different. So
Do they give you points on?
no. Oh, you mean the presentation side?
Yes.
No, in some of the set categories, there's the best presented set. So you can actually have a set which may not be the highest points for exactly. If you've illustrated it very nicely, you've maybe explained the coins very nicely, it's an interesting theme, maybe you can win a prize for that. So it's not just the best, most expensive coins. They're trying to make it interesting for everyone. So you can have different themes depending on what interests you. I've been trying to win it, but I'll tell you now. But okay, so that's how you enter coin. I've given you an example. This is one of my coins, just so that you can see where the number, in case you didn't know, but I'm sure you all know that it's that serial number there. I just said here, please have fun competing, but just don't add this coin, because if you add this coin as an experiment, I'll get a message saying so-and-so is trying to take your coin. So you can do that, you know what I mean, but there's just an example, so it's which is the number you got in. I think is that I've described everything.
Yeah.
Anyone want to?
Any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nominating the chairman.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. You can still mill around a little bit. There's an exhibition of those that didn't see it outside.
Did we forget the, what were we going to do, sending to ANGC? Wasn't Walter going to do a speech on that?
No, it wasn't planned, but I'll take the moment.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I understood.
No, it's fine. I'm
You
glad
said
you
we had
asked. Yeah, how does it work to send your coins to NGC? That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't prepare anything, but I think in terms of being nominating and accepting the interim chairman's position, let me at least introduce myself as well. I'm Waldo Iman. I've been collecting coins for about 20 odd years. Obviously starting small, and I think when you start out, you think you're going to collect everything. But I soon realized it's way too expensive. So my collection is fairly small. I really focus on a couple of niche areas, which is all the one rands, all the 1 cents, and all the farthings. So that's essentially all I collect. And then when I started out, I used to have a grader in Pretoria, and I used to send everything there. And then I realized that you don't have control. You're always curious what's going on. And there's a cost factor which I wanted more control over. So I started sending my own coins, registered as a dealer at NGC, so I sent everything under WH Numismatics. And yeah, I'm sending all Pierce coins, I'm sending all Adrian's coins, some of Rob's coins, Sergio's coins,
And
Nick's
banknotes as well, or only coins?
Banknotes as well.
Okay.
So yeah, so you know, for any grading needs, you know, feel free to contact me. I'm pretty sure in the next update my contact details will be in there. And yeah, if people ask me how does it work, average grading time lately takes anything between 6 weeks and about 16 weeks. We're currently in a cycle where if you send coins now, it takes about 4 months. And that's purely because of probably COVID, one of the contributing factors. And this time of the year, there's a lot of coins being sent to NGC because of the registry that closes in the first week of December. So, yeah, any coins that go now won't be done, I can tell you now, by next year. We've actually sent a batch last week. I got confirmation this morning it's in Jamaica, New York. So it will be delivered on Monday. In terms of coins sending for grading, those are the 2 scariest moments, is when you send them and when you get them back. What happens at NGC, I'm never worried about because it's fairly safe. But there's basically 2 ways of doing it, which I'll share with you. There's the right way and the way that I do it. Now, the right way is you have to get customs clearance and you have to take photographs of both sides of the coins. You actually get an export permit per coin. So you are allowed to export it, and when it comes back, because you've got an export permit, you can bring it in. Okay. There's a lot of risk in that as well. You know, you make everybody aware of what you're sending out, which, you know, in my experience, although I haven't tried the other way, you know, I don't want them to know what I'm sending out. Okay. You know, some of the coins I send out.
TIA, this is Africa.
Yeah.
exactly.
Some of the coins that we deal with, and I deal with 6-figure coins. I'm talking about one coin. And some of it's gone beyond the 6 figures. So we don't declare the coins, but there's risk in it. You know, and I'll be honest with you. I've got a standard email I send out to a new client, and it's not a sales pitch. You know, I say then, if you want me to provide the service to you, here's the indemnity form that you have to sign. The fact of the matter is we're dealing in collectibles that people won't even think twice about stealing. Touch wood, I've never lost a parcel that I've sent or received back from India. So you don't tell them you send coins. Having said that, my courier company knows that I'm sending coins. So I'm using a company called MDS. Having said that, MDS, all they do is they take your package and they give it to FedEx. So what happened is about 3 months ago, FedEx phones me and says, "Are you sending coins?" I said, "Well, I've been sending coins for years." He said, "Yeah, but you're not allowed to send coins." I said, "Okay, well, send this one, then we'll talk about it." About 2 days later, they let me know, okay, they'll give it to one of their little subsidiary companies, which is still owned by FedEx. It's called International Parcel. So now what happens is, I give it to MDS, MDS gives it to FedEx, FedEx gives it to International Parcel, and 6 days later my coins are delivered. So, I think the point I'm trying to make is there's risks involved. I try to indemnify myself to the point where I'm not going to be held responsible. It's the risk that we all take.
Have you ever lost something valuable?
No, I've got some valuable coins.
Have you even lost in transit?
No. With NDC, never. Absolutely never. When I bought stuff from eBay, I've lost things, but that's a different experience. But with NDC, never. And I think fortunately through all my years of working with NDC and with MDS and FedEx, I've got some contacts now. So, you know, I can trace the parcels at every point. Even when it gets to NDC, I've got contacts there. So, you know, I try and skip the queue as much as I can to get my stuff prioritized. Otherwise, it really does take a long time.
Waldy, one last question. A lot of times we buy coins that are graded, for instance, by another company. Okay,
Yeah.
you want to send it to NGC to be graded.
Yeah.
In that case, do you have to break it out of that slab, or can you send it in that slab?
You can send it in the
You
slab.
can. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Everyone told me you can't, so I'm glad
No,
to know.
no.
Don't you think it's wise
Like
to
that.
break it up?
No,
If you send
no.
it in the grade, they're going to say, "Oh, that's now we're going to grade it."
No,
Well,
they
I would have hoped that works because I bought some from a shitty company that's graded 68. You send it to NGC, it comes back 62.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you had taken it out the slab, you might have got a higher grade.
Yeah, but in my experience and what they've told me is they completely disregard the grade.
Yeah, they will.
Well, I'm hoping.
Yeah,
There's
I
always that
would-
So I
subjective.
bought some stuff in the UK on eBay that they partially that they said was proofs, okay? And I can tell you now, those aren't proofs.
No, listen,
No.
there's some companies that I completely avoid. You know, Adrian as well. By this time, we know what to buy and what not to buy. I'll share with you, seeing that you use PCGS. You know, we've sent probably 30 or 40 coins for crossovers from PCGS to NGC. Our success rate's been about 20%, 25%. So that it crosses at the same
Same
level.
level, yeah.
Mostly it will come back at a lower
Well,
grade.
that's
So be careful what you buy and thinking that it's high grade. It's probably not.
Listen, everything that gets graded by certified in anything, including diamonds, is exactly like that. I mean, for example, diamonds, there's only 2 companies that only one that I like. It's the GIA. And there's another one that's not going to comment if everyone uses.
EGL.
Sorry?
EGL.
EGL. And that's it. Other than that, and there's a lot of Israeli companies who want to grade your diamonds, and everyone says, "Don't even touch them." You know. And so it doesn't matter whether you're doing stamps, coins, diamonds.
Everywhere.
It works the same way.
Yeah. I think the only last thing I can really share is for people that on a price point. If you do use my services, I don't charge a specific price for a specific service because of the rand exchange rate. So I always calculate everything to the cent based on what I actually pay. And that will depend on the conversion rate. I can give you ranges. The cheapest coins, which is on the modern tier, is about 550 rand already a coin. And then your most expensive ones is, believe it or not, the gold coins for some reason, especially if you go conservation. There you can pay up to 1,100 rand already.
That's also
For the more expensive coins, you know, some of their service tiers are based on value specifically. So if you send in a Felcoin, you know, it's going to cost you, I don't remember the exact point the price because I've only sent one Felcoin really, but it was about no, I'm trying to think what, it was $160, I think. It was $160, if I remember correctly. I'll have a look.
It's not bad at all.
About 3,000 bucks.
That's not. No, that's not. About 2.5.
Yeah.
But that's for example, that's not bad.
You know, it becomes expensive based on what you see sometimes.
No,
But it's
but
only
sometimes it's
applicable
what,
to
150,000 rand?
small.
You know, so that's fair.
Yeah. But the risk is there. For me, it's more about the risks. Obviously, on some of the tiers, the waiting period can be as little as 5 days because you go to the express tier and you jump all the queues. But most of my submissions are economy, which is the longest, and there you can wait up to 3.5 months. I spoke to Werner last week, Werner Lompraat from Pretoria. When I spoke to him last week, he's been waiting 3.5 months for his grant. So they are very, very much behind. But yeah, that's it. Any questions?
That we use you to be able to register export, or do you do?
No, I do everything.
What do you charge percentage? You charge a percentage or?
My markup's roughly about 15%. That's it.
15%.
15, yeah.
The people that actually do the grading, where do they come? What is their sort of demographic? Is it?
There's very scarce details of them on the website, so you never know who's the world grader. And I often, you know, when I email them, because Arian seems to find these exotic South African coins that nobody's ever heard of. So, you know, I would question them. Who is your South African expert? Do they actually know what they're doing? You know, we've got a coin there, and I'm sure you don't mind if I share, but we've got an 1898 tiki there, which is made in copper. Now, I've never seen one, I've never heard of one. I sent it in, they actually captured it as an 1898 copper tiki. So we're waiting for
Those ones where you get like a half crown in copper or gold, but they have different, they try in different metals.
Off metal structure.
So it's like
Yeah,
pattern basically.
yeah.
We hope it.
But that was not even capital. I'm not sure.
Did that cost you a lot of money? What was that like?
No,
Wasn't it?
it didn't cost a lot.
So it's like, so it's actually, if it's right, it was a lot.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm just hopeful.
I mean, what you just know, the policy.
I've got a whole theme of. Sorry, no, I've got a theme which is like the unified stripes, off metal stripes. Look like Krugerrand in silver, Krugerrand in copper. You know, so that just.
I think that's when they're actually testing.
Yeah.
Krugerrand and silver they do it on the seas. It's a standard.
No, not the.
Not the.
No, it's the real McCoy.
Sorry, Kruger Port. You know Kruger Port.
No, Krugerrand.
And he's talking about 1980s.
So 1970s, I can't remember that, 80s or 76 or something, but in copper.
In
So
copper.
yeah, I've got one copper and one in silver too. But it's long before the silver Kruger.
Yeah.
The silver one you're talking, the modern silver one.
No.
Any other questions?
Just long as we've got your contact details,
Yeah.
happy to go.
NCS, don't even know what NCS is.
Sure, okay, well, yeah, sorry, it's right. So there's one additional service I didn't touch, which is NCS, it's National Conservation Services. You know, we are, or most of us know that you shouldn't clean your coins. these guys professionally conserve your coins, which is professionally cleaning it. We've had, in my own experiences, we've had very good results, and frankly, I've had results where I really think that actually did the coin a disservice. But on the modern coins, we get better results because they're supposed to be fairly high grade, perfect coins, and sometimes there's a small little blemish on that, mold spots or some residue of some kind, and they're very effective in taking that off. We recently did a batch for Rob where we didn't select conservation services, but because my contacts there, I contacted them and I said, listen, we're not going to market for conservation, but have a look at it. And to my surprise, out of, I think it was 52 coins, they only chose 1 point for conservation. So I expected average grades. The grades that came back were absolutely phenomenal. I can't even tell you how many finest notes were in that batch. And they were never even conserved, which for me is good news.
Yeah.
It's like they're almost moving away from just conserving for the sake of making money, which I think initially there might have been that sense. But yeah, so that's another option. It adds to your bill, not that much. I think it's about $17.
We must
For a
actually
modern
maybe
coin.
at one of the meetings here, if we could add the topic of dipping coins to that thing. When and when shouldn't you? Because I've got my personal opinion on that. I'm sure everyone does. Now, do I leave a silver coin to get pitted, or do I dip it?
Yeah,
I think it'd be a lovely subject to discuss.
Okay, well, we can
Yeah.
ask next time if you give
Put topics forward, yeah.
the guys can put the topics forward. I mean, the young people can put topics forward.
Good idea.
Because somebody likes Kruger coins, other ones like modern coins,
Yeah.
and there's some military medal collectors. So everybody's got to get a chance.
Good idea.
It's actually so nice to see the young
Yeah.
folk that we got here today. It makes my heart so happy. We just need a lot more. Eventually, I'd like to see more of you guys and us.
Yeah.
Careful.
And he's a ticket collector.
Well, when I spoke to my son coming here, he's 6 years old, and he says to me, so why didn't Pierre invite me? But it's probably the same for all of us, if you have children. I sit there at my desk. My son knows exactly what I'm doing by now. He picks up the coin, he doesn't touch it in the middle anymore, and very, very cautious. But yeah, I think it starts there, and that's probably the way that the doggy's going to grow.
Well, my wife even knows that. I only clapped her once. Never
Listen, this is the last one thing. We're going to send you the link to the recording, everyone. Okay? The internet link, so you can watch it again.